And the topic I wanted to speak about today is one that I keep thinking about almost every single day. Dealing with patients who have terminal cancers and other diseases where people are told that there are absolutely no cures and you got to live with this pain for the rest of your life, or you have to live with this autoimmune condition for the rest of your life. And then, of course, we have fourth stage cancer patients who are given a certain prognosis of a couple of months to live, sometimes a stage 3 as well. While all this is good, I'm not here to debate all of that. Today, I want to talk about a topic which is very sensitive. I'm not here to preach about religion. There's nothing to preach about religion. There's everything to teach from our own experiences in life, from our own knowledge, what we see around, because most of our mindsets are either brainwashed from the time we're young with what we hear in society, our upbringing, how your parents probably felt about religion. Some felt strongly about it, some didn't believe it. So we grow up emulating everything that we've picked up from our parents, and then we go into our teenage years where we have our own belief systems about religion, we have our own belief systems about spirituality. Then we move into our 20s and our 30s, where at every moment in our life, we're constantly changing. And then you wonder why people in their 45s and 50s and 60s or even 70s start to get more and more spiritual. It hits us all at different times. My message today is, for the last 13 years, okay, if you ask me, if I was talking to you 13 years ago, I would probably be a person who didn't stress too much about the power of prayer or belief or faith. And 13 years later, what's changed? What's changed? Of course, I'm 13 years elder in terms of age, but that's not it. It's what life shows you. When you're handling patients, different genders, different ages, you're looking at children born with deadly diseases, you're looking at senior citizens, you're looking with people who were told that they're not going to live for 2 weeks more, or at the most 6 months, or at the most a year. These patients are with you, they're working with their doctors, they're working with you, which is me and my team. And at some point, when you see the disease start to progress, and all of a sudden you see the disease start to get better, and the doctors know it's not their medication, we know it's not our nutrition and our lifestyle, you just know that the human body has found its intelligence to heal. Where does that intelligence come from? Where does the healing come from? Some people would like to attribute it towards prayer. Of course, I'm talking about cases where the patient is palliative. There's no medicine, so there's no medicine to work. I have to be honest with you. These patients in a palliative state cannot consume the amount of nutrition that we would need them to. Their stomachs have shrunk. They don't have the appetite anymore. They're not able to even eat a proper meal. So it's unfair for us to say that nutrition kicked in and saved their lives. But it makes you look at these kind of people. And I love spending time with my patients because I get to learn so much more beyond just medicine. And when you speak to these people, a lot of them pray, some don't. Some don't pray, but they have the resolve to live. They have the will to want to get better. They have a driving purpose in their life, whether it's work, whether it's a loved one, whether it's a child, whether it's just they don't want to die. How do we quantify these things when it comes to healing? Everything in life, everything in science and medicine doesn't always have to be quantified. We can't quantify or answer a lot of life's mysteries. And just because we don't understand the power, the intelligence in realms of the universe, it doesn't mean we don't believe in it. At the same time, I'm not here to ask you to believe in God. I'm not here to ask you to follow your religion. No. I'm over here to inspire a conversation of thought in every one of us today. Like, I love praying. I believe in God. I love praying. I believe everything I am today is because of prayer. I believe every situation I've been helped out of is because of prayer. Every part of my patient's success is mine, not alone. It's prayers. So I believe in it, but I'm no one to tell you that you need to pray. I've seen some of my patients strengthen my own faith. My own faith. Now you would say, Luke, do you have one God that you believe in? Of course I do. But does it mean that I don't believe in the religious teachings of every other religion? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes, because every religion talks about the same commonalities. They may have certain changes and differences in dietary choices, in the way that we pray, how often we pray, but the commonalities of every single religion revolves around kindness, gratitude, giving back, faith, belief, acceptance, letting go, surrender. There is no religion or spiritual path on this planet that does not share these commonalities. And then we have humans in between who misconstrue the words of different religious scriptures and spiritual. They try to bring in focuses that they want. They're controlled politically. We're not going into that path. We're just coming into, if you ever get, a lot of you have access to ChatGPT. What do you use it for? I want to give all of you a little bit of homework today because I already see some names of some of my patients who have terminal illnesses. Some people who have multiple sclerosis and difficult, very, very difficult diseases to deal with. Your homework tonight or tomorrow morning, go into ChatGPT. All you need to do is write exactly what I'm saying. Write me a scientific, evidence-based article with names and research of people across the world who have overcome fourth-stage cancers and the worst diseases when medicine failed to work. What you're going to get is names and detailed cases of real people who have gone through the worst conditions, never expected to survive, and they have survived. Now you can further put a prompt and pull out the commonalities of all these patients and see what it throws up. All of them obviously went through medical. A lot of them went to integrated and holistic. But what the commonality was in all of these survivors was, number one, the resolve to live, the will to want to live. Number two, purpose. What is their purpose? Number three, whatever treatments they selected, having faith in those treatments. Now, there's faith and there's blind faith. Like I can tell you right up front today, if you are a cancer patient and you think you should only do chemo and radiation and you put all your faith in that alone, you are not going to get better. Because chemo and radiation's job is to treat the symptom. When you have cancer, you need to heal. You need to look at your nutrition, your movement, everything. Everything. That is for every single condition. All of you who know me, I don't practice in the field of alternative medicine. I am integrative, which means you take your medicines, but you also address the root cause of your problem and you change your life. But there is a category of people who are so afraid to believe in higher powers, intelligences, all of these things that are working for us every single day. Sometimes our egos and prides kick in and we think, oh, I did that. I did this. I built this company. I made this work. I lost this weight. I did this. Without understanding that their ego and pride is coming in the way of them being grateful for a divine intelligence that is working within them, that is also connected to a divine intelligence which is around them and everywhere. Do we human beings really, are we so arrogant to think that everything we've done in our lifetime is us, and us? That's the ego. All of us are constantly being guided. We're constantly getting these little spiritual messages through people, through things, through a medicine, through a food. These are all energies that are being beautifully orchestrated to work towards something going well in our body. Sometimes the spiritual message comes through a really bad relationship. Sometimes it comes through your first reoccurrence of your cancer, or maybe your second and your third before you finally go into a remission. But we tend to give up so quickly. We tend not to understand that there are so many energies working based on so many different aspects that exist within us and outside of us. Now, some of us choose to pray. Some of us think that prayer is just wasted conversation and recital of paragraphs that don't make sense. There's another commonality in every religion that talks about prayer being a simple conversation between you, God, your universe, whatever it is, or whoever it is that you worship. A simple conversation, as simple as, please help me. I'm scared. I need courage. I'm fearful of my treatment tomorrow. I'm going to die. I feel I'm going to die. I can't live with this feeling. Please help me is one of the most simplest and powerful prayers. And then we'll have people who will do everything else. I'm not here to judge everyone else. They'll light candles, they'll go to temples and churches and mosques and they'll pray, they'll do all the pilgrimages, they'll do all and every single thing, all the complication. But there is no prayer or conversation with God with faith or belief. Every religion and spiritual path talks about faith and belief. What is the faith and belief I ask all of my patients to have? The faith and belief I ask you all to have is in your own body's ability to heal you. Because your body is a gift. Your body is a gift. It's not just happened. Scientists can explain a lot of stuff, but they still can't explain a ton of stuff that happens in the human body and the human brain. So that's great. We only want to talk about what we can figure out with science. But no one can yet understand where is that message coming from the brain to a particular cell to launch a particular attack at the right time, the right place. When does that communication go wrong? No one knows that. No scientist knows that. We have great evidence. We have great science for so many things. What I'm trying to inspire you is to think a little bit beyond your conscious mind. Stop, look around you, look around you at the universe. Don't look around at what you want to see. Remove the lens of fear that you look at your lives through. I'm not saying try to pretend you don't have fear. Fear is a great emotion as long as we back it up with action. But just look around. Look at what is happening in your body. You're sleeping and cells, trillions of cells in the human body are working to keep you alive. Now, there's something called destiny. If I'm then meant to die in the next 5 minutes, there's nothing I can do about it. If you are meant to die in the next 1 hour, there's nothing you can do about it. That's destiny. We don't understand it. We're not supposed to understand it. So you keep it aside. People are trying to control things that are out of control, like destiny. It doesn't matter what your stars say. It matters about how you're living your life. What actions you're taking every single day. Your karmas, every single thing is involved in you being alive right now. So you can have the best chemo, the best nutrition, the best whatever, and you can still die. You can have none of these diseases and you can still die without a reason. You can drop dead. You can get hit by a car. All I'm asking people to look at is another commonality in every single religion that religions and spiritual paths talk about. These powerful words, grace, mercy, and forgiveness. Grace. If it was not you in the plane crash, that is God's grace. That is the divine intelligence grace that you have received as a gift. If it was not you in that road accident, you were blessed with grace today. You don't have to know the person. We all know about the recent plane crash that happened in Washington. Kids died, teenagers, people who were just about to land and be home with their loved ones. What is that gift to us? It's grace. We fail to see these things. The bad things we've done but we've gotten away with is mercy. And all of us have been extended mercy in some way or the other. But yet we feel we should be judgmental and not forgive those who have hurt us. When we are constantly being forgiven for things that we've done, we don't get the right to be the judge when it comes to other people. I know forgiveness is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. It takes time, but you got to extend it if it's been extended to you. And I can tell you right now, there is no one out there who is without sin. There is no one out there who has the most innocent and clean heart and mind. Everyone has made some mistake and everyone has been extended forgiveness at some point in their life. The point is, if we don't start looking inward and reflecting on all of these things, we're just building more and more fear and anxiety, and we're allowing our diseases to control us and everything else. Okay, you got diagnosed with a disease. Shouldn't have happened. We can intend it doesn't happen again. Now, what do you have to do? Some people are still in a state of ego and pride, and that's why their diseases consume them. They've not yet come down to humbleness. They've not yet come down to humility. They've not yet come down to a state of acceptance. Any one of us can fall sick. Even the fittest person who works out every day can fall sick. We are not entitled human beings. When we're in a state of ego and pride and entitlement, we're in a state of chaos. The human body is not designed to heal. We have brought so much of ego and pride in the field of medicine, nutrition, and even spirituality. So many spiritual paths weaponize fear to make people, they're afraid of losing people from their religious paths or their spiritual paths. We never feel fulfilled. We never feel content with what's happening. My point of today's video is whoever you are watching this right now, if you've given up, and I have patients who have given up. Let me give you an example. I have an 84-year-old man. He says, Luke, I'm ready to die, but I don't want to go through chemo. I don't want to go through radiation, especially when my doctors say I'm only going to get 6 months more or a year. I'd rather live 6 months or a year without treatment. He's made up his mind. He's lived a fulfilling life and he's accepting death his way. And it's absolutely right. If we cannot guarantee that a treatment, if we cannot guarantee it's going to give you your life, why suffer? Now, there are some people who are brave enough to make this decision. And there are some people who will say, no, I'll do anything because I want to live. That's their choice. Go ahead and do it. But what are the missing medicines in our life right now? When I look around at most of my patients, all I see is stress and disharmony in cancer-riddled bodies, diabetic bodies, patients and young kids on depression medication. I see disharmony. Where do we bring balance back into our body? How do we bring it? 15 minutes of meditation? No, these things are great tools. We have to reconnect with the intelligences that have formed this amazing body. Has anyone wondered we're so great at talking about a fetus and what happens in the womb? But no one understands the science of how it all starts. We know the basics, the sperm meets an egg, and there's angiogenesis, and there's all of that. So science can't answer half the mysteries of life. And that mystery of life, every mystery of life doesn't have to be solved. Sometimes we just look in awe at the galaxy and we feel part of such a large, large cosmos. That itself is healing. We don't have to put a name to it. We don't have to put a name. We don't have to put a ritual to it. We need to feel. All of my patients who have manifested their healings and their recoveries have first felt how they're going to feel when they don't have that disease. We are all energy bodies. All of us are energy bodies, including your bag of chemo, your tablets that you're taking are all energy bodies. If I look at that chemo in a negative way, it's going to kill me. It's going to make my hair fall. It's going to make all of these things and stuff. Some side effects will happen. What do you think's happening? The human mind, the placebo effect, the nocebo effect is all real. This is not airy-fairy stuff. It's science. Do you know that every pharmaceutical drug, every drug that is in the pharmacy right now has had to go through a placebo trial? Why a placebo trial? Because placebos are real. They work. They work. And then we have people who are too scared to pray because they're so disconnected from the powers of the universe, the powers of their own body. They've connected more to what their money can buy them, the top doctor, the top surgeon, the top nutritionist. I don't have a problem with that. But they're not your world. They're your tools. They're not your body of intelligence that is going to make you heal. It is your body and every cell in your body that is going to heal you. And we need to understand that. Medicine has its role in life, nutrition, spirit, all of these things have its role. But you as a human being own the most power through your thoughts, through how you feel about your disease, how you feel about someone. You know, you can build a great relationship with just the way you feel for a partner, and you can destroy that same beautiful relationship when your feeling changes for that partner. That is how strong our feelings, our emotions, and our thoughts are. prayer is such a beautiful thing. I still have patients, and I'm not here to judge them. They're like, Luke, where's the science about prayer? We don't even have these conversations because these people are still so misguided by their own egos and prides. And why do I say ego and pride? Because if there is no prayer and there is no intelligence in this cosmos, in you, are you saying you are intelligent to have done everything in your life? Are you that intelligent that everything in your life has happened because of you alone? Or was there guidance? Oh, I studied, Luke. I studied so much. I got an MBA. I did this in Harvard. I did that. Great. You've still been guided by some divine force. Now, which is that divine force you can find to align to? If it's your God, if it's an energy, whatever it is, you need faith, you need hope, you need belief. Since science can't understand these things and science can't prove all the miracles, the medical miracles that have happened, you know what? Science just doesn't want to study it anymore. They just document it as one-offs, or we don't know. We don't know how you healed. We don't know if you'll heal. So technically, they don't know anything besides their subject, which is absolutely okay. But that doesn't give anyone the right to strip us away of medicines beyond medicine that can heal us. I know people who have healed with just their faith and their treatments. I know people, and I'll share that story, 22-year-old girl, Muslim girl. I still remember her coming out of the hospital, and she was sitting in a car and talking to me. She was so calm, so cool, triple negative cancer, aggressive, all the treatments. I said, listen, are you okay? You can express, you can break down, you can talk to me. She said, why should I? I have faith in my God. I have faith in Allah. Allah has given this disease to me. He's given this body to me. He will take it away from me. That faith, she spoke to me, calmed me down, and right then I knew that she was going to have the most beautiful recovery, and she did. Who are we not to talk about these things and only go on talking about what Instagram and medicine and pharmaceuticals and nutritionists keep saying? Every one of our patients that have healed have never ever been because of what we do alone. I know these people start to heal. What we do is supportive to their healing, but their healing came when their mindset changed. I've also had patients who had strong mindsets and the want to live and still died. That's destiny, like I said. So we have no right to say, but oh, Luke, but the patient died. So what? So do we stop believing? Do we stop having faith? Do we start throwing all of our energy in all of the weaponized fear that the world gives us? Everyone today can close their eyes before sleep and reflect on this intelligence that I'm talking about. Keep your prayer simple. It does not have to be complicated. We don't need more hypocrisy of people doing more rituals and more prayers and more donations, but not practicing what they really need to practice, not making the changes that they really need to make within them, learning to release repressed and suppressed emotions, learning to forgive, learning to overcome resentment, learning to understand that your past is your past. You can't change it. You can wish it didn't happen, but you're dragging it into your present, and it is controlling your future. What are the limiting mindsets that we have that has made our world so sick today? We have AI, we have technology, we can put people on the moon, we can do so many things, but we're getting sicker as human beings. Are we successful? We have failed. We have failed at every level because we have not made use of the power of nature, the cosmos, spirituality, our connections as a human spirit, with ourselves, with other people. All we have is chaos and disharmony, hatred and fear, and all of these things become the biggest obstacles towards our healing. You go into the most remotest villages in our country, and you see how the poorest of the poorest heal with the least facilities in medicine. One is ignorance is bliss. Most of them don't even know what cancer is. Number two, they have a purpose to live because they're the breadwinners of their family. You put it together and they're just healing magically. What can we learn? Have we become so arrogant to think that just because we don't know something, it's not right? Do we really think all our diseases can be solved with just the medicine alone, a diet plan, red light therapy, cold showers? No. First, we need to bring balance and peace into our bodies. We got to accept, if I've agreed on the treatment, accept it. Accept it. Don't fight it in your mind anymore. You're fighting something that is coming into your body. You're rejecting every part of that energy body. If you've accepted it, be in a state of acceptance while you're getting it. If you don't want it, don't take it. That's also fine. I think another thing that I've learned with people, I've learned so much from my patients when they're, Luke, we're ready to die. Just let us go. Tell our families, let us go. We're ready. But as human beings, it's our own guilt, our own fear of being alone, our own fear. We want to do anything and everything to save our parents and people who are like just suffering in hospitals. Letting go is also us learning to find the strength and courage to let go of someone when they're meant to die or they're supposed to die. We have to bring this whole spiritual part into our lives, and we can only do it when each of us take personal responsibility to understand things bigger than our own fears, bigger than our own egos, our prides, and to want to control everything. That, no, Luke, I'm getting a private jet. I'm sending him to the US. I'm getting this, getting that, getting this. Not understanding that the journey itself to the US is going to do the most damage. But we want to protect ourselves. We want to tick in all the boxes. Oh, I did everything. I did everything for them. I did every single thing. And that's not a bad thing. But there's a time to let go. It's the most difficult decision for everyone else. But think about it. I want you to reflect on these things. Where will the solution come from? Prayer. I want you to do another ChatGPT exercise. Just do the power of prayer and medical miracles. And you will be in awe. Real life stories that you read of people praying, someone praying for someone. I have a lot of my patients, Luke, I don't believe in God. I wouldn't have got cancer if God loved me. It's okay. It's no time to lecture that patient. I ask their family to pray for that patient. And that works too. There is something called the power of collective prayer. When we come together, that's why we go together to a mosque, a temple, a church. It's a congregation of people, different energies, putting energy into an intention that they all want. Are we using these tools? Are we using them? Or are they just not too cool? Or science has blinded all of us to think that only what is evidence-based and science-based. But hey, here's how much of science exists in evidence, and yet the biggest killers in the world right now are cardiovascular cancer and diabetes. Yeah, there's a ton of science and research. Is it really saving lives? It's incomplete. It's incomplete without us using or harnessing the intelligence of our spiritual connections. You don't know how to pray? Ask someone to pray for you. It's the most humble thing. It's the most humble thing to do. I love when my patients and my clients say, hey, Luke, I kept you in my prayers today. It just warms my heart because I know that's honestly the only thing I really, truly want at that particular point. It gives me comfort. But yet we're now on spiritual fads. People want to wake up at 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning to meditate and not go to sleep on time and be sleep deprived. Let me tell you, I handle the health of some of the biggest spiritual leaders in the world. Now you would wonder, Luke, why are they coming to you? They're sick. Yes, they're sick. Some of them are very sick. They've neglected the physical self. They're very mature with the spiritual self. But remember, your body is a gift. It's not just spiritual, it's physical as well. And it is our personal responsibility to look after the gift that we've all been given. So yes, of course, spiritual leaders can fall sick. Of course, personal trainers and bodybuilders can also fall sick. They've neglected the emotional part of their mind. No one escapes. But the point is, the more we're in tune with our spirit, I'm just asking people, reflect. And if you find that slightest awe of, I've made it to this part of my life because of so many different guiding forces. If I look back at some of my worst relationships in life today, they were my biggest and best lessons. Whether I was wrong or the girl was wrong, doesn't matter. I can't fix what's happened, neither can they. But I had to go through every single one of them, to be who I am today. So sometimes our spiritual messages and learnings come through the worst relationships, sometimes the worst sickness. It's not uncommon for my cancer patients in remission to say, Luke, I don't know how to say this, but I'm happy I went through cancer. I'm a changed person today. If I didn't go through this, I wouldn't have got out of that toxic relationship. I wouldn't have started putting myself first. So you see, But we're so primed because social media and society gives us the platform to bitch, whine, complain, feel entitled all the time, that we fail to look at negativity, rejection, and hardship as valuable lessons, spiritual lessons that can actually help us in our present moment. Pray. If you are praying, pray. And there's something else that I want to share with you. I mean, sometimes I get these weird wake-up calls at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and I've learned not to go back to sleep, but just listen, and there's always a message. Have any of you ever experienced sometimes that you're sitting down to say your prayer in the morning or in the evening or whatever, and there's a distraction, something that takes you away from your prayer, something that takes you away from your prayer time, from your spiritual time, and we just let it go? If any of you have ever experienced that, that is exactly the time that you prioritize prayer. You see, negative energies and evil are real. There's good and evil. We have to believe that. And many, many times, the things that are stopping us from doing the right things, the things that are making us doing the wrong things, the things that push us away from our spiritual connections are those negative and evil forces that don't want us to do that. If anyone has ever experienced this, that you decide to do your prayers tonight, but something came up, maybe it was a sun pop up on your WhatsApp, or a friend call, or someone came over for a drink, just look at these as signs. The person isn't bad. These are little signs that is pulling you away from what you really need at that particular point. How many of us have sacrificed prayer time for something else? It isn't a sacrifice. It was a distraction that won. It is so important for us to prioritize our prayer time, whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Do you know even gratitude itself is a prayer? Do you know thank you said with genuineness is also a prayer alone? I'm not asking you to complicate things. I'm not asking you to, I remember fighting with my mom growing up all the time. I just never understood why I had to learn prayers by heart when I felt it was just, one was I couldn't learn it by heart and I didn't want to put in the effort. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to have conversations, and my most honest conversations with God have been the ones where I've got the most honest answers if we stop to listen. You ask and you listen. You don't ask and then you go back to your life of anxiety and fear. You pray and then you bring faith into it. What I'm telling you is not easy. It comes with practice. I still struggle. I pray every day for more strength to have courage in my own faith. But the point is we don't stop, because look around the world right now. Everything that we have is not working. And the ones that it's working for are the ones who have nurtured spiritual relationships. They are great with genuine prayer. They are resilient. They have faith. They have prayer. Some of my patients talk about other patients. Look at that patient. He's got bone cancer and yet he's so happy. Where's that attitude coming from? It takes a certain strength and faith to have that kind of attitude. And that's where it comes from. A spiritual connection. Faith and belief. We can't pretend to have strength and faith. You can't pretend to have it. You got to nurture it. You got to trust it. And that's why I tell people, trust the process of life. Even if it seems out of control. We are not in control of anything. That is why we need to nurture faith, belief, and hope. I want you all to look differently at prayer. Sometimes we make fun of our parents or older people who are just, there's a problem and they'll be like, immediately pray, and we're like laughing, oh, come on, we need action, we need a solution. Well, prayer is also in action. I hope all of us can master the power of prayer. I'm not here to force anyone into belief. There's no gain. Everyone will find their path at the right time. But this is a huge missing part of our entire system of prevention, healing, and recovery. And I'm hoping that each of us, all of us, can now slowly start to use it with faith, belief, action, and consistency. Have a good night, everyone.